Casting with Kerry Jones.
I'll be honest with you, Gary, I've had some of my best days fishing in Uist, especially this year. My best days fishing this year was in a horrible wind. The wind was howling, so it was from the south. It was about 35 plus mile an hour. It was, and it was difficult. It was difficult casting, and plus you had the rain along with it. But my God, what a day's fishing I had that day.
Good to chat, Paul, and it was good to meet you at the Irish Fly Fair.
It was, lad. It was great to finally meet you, especially after speaking for so long. It was definitely.
But it was good to actually, like I said, meet at the show. What was the show like for you?
I had a great weekend. It wasn't as busy as last year's show. However, it was still a great weekend, so it was still a great weekend. Some phenomenal tyers on it. See some of the guys with Tyler Classic salmon fleece. Oh my God! Some of the skill that you see on display, and see to be able to witness it firsthand, it's quite special. And then you have the other side of things. You have guys there that can tie. Some of them are tying dry fleece down the smaller size 22s, 24s. Phenomenal skill. So yeah, it's a great experience. But it definitely is. It's a great experience. So I must say, it was a fantastic weekend. It was a great laugh. Everybody has a great laugh together. It's always such a good atmosphere.
Those classic salmon flies is one or two guys I know which do it, and they will maybe have a couple of sit-ins to do one pattern. You don't just sit down and say, right, I'll tie this. It's over a couple of evenings.
Some of them guys, they would have sat down and started tying a fly on the Saturday, and they would have tied it all day on the Saturday, and then they would have had to sit back down to the same fly on the Sunday, and it would have took them the full day and the rest of the Sunday too to finish it. Some of them can take a week or two to finish, guy. Some of them are really intricate. There's so much involved in them, but it's great to witness. It's great to see firsthand. So it is.
You won't want to get one of those flies stuck up in a tree, will you?
I know, too expensive to you, and you pay way up after it. So you would. The price of some of the materials can be crazy.
I guess it was like coming back home for you, because you were originally from Derry.
It was the same last year. That was why last year I was really excited about it, because it was the first ever show that I'd done in Ireland. I've done shows in England, and I've done them in Scotland, but I've never actually done one in Ireland. So it was nice to finally do one on home soil last year.
Yeah.
So it was, and then it was even better. It was even better to get invited back there again this year. So.
Yeah.
I must say, it was a nice touch getting to tie in my home soil.
You're living in Glasgow now, yeah?
I've been in Glasgow now, Kerry, for, when did I come over here? It was either 2013, 2014. So 11 or 12 years I've been here now, Kerry.
It must have been work or a woman, yeah?
I came over for work, lad, and then ended up paying. Back then, there was very little work, especially where I come from. I'm from Derry. There's very little happening in Belfast. You used to have to go to Belfast or else Dublin to get any consistent work. I discovered that there was loads of work over here, so I just decided to come over for the work, and then ended up staying. And I'm here. I'm still here.
So where is your local water then?
My local river, Kerry, will be the River Clyde. The River Clyde's only 20 minutes from my front door. Half even 20 minutes. 10, 15 minutes actually. And off the River Clyde, you have a tributary of the River Clyde, which is called the River Kelvin. That's another great wee river, so it is. Out with that, then, if you head a wee bit further south, I'm not too far away from the River Nuth and the River Ann. They're maybe only an hour away from me. Right. As well, and obviously the River Tweed. The River Tweed's only an hour and a quarter away.
I fished the Tweed many years ago over by Peebles.
Peebles, yes. This time of the year, I like to fish at Kerry. See, October, November. You have the two beats. You have Cardrona and Horsburgh. So you do, and they're just a bit lower down than Peebles. Where I don't know if you've ever heard of it or not. The Cardrona Hotel.
No.
Where Ian Bain, you know Ian Bain, famous salmon fisherman.
Right.
That's where he's That's where he's famous for fishing for. He's got a lot of videos on that on YouTube, and he created that fly, the Ian Bain special.
All right,
and that's where I'm almost sure that's where he invented it, Ceri. It was on the Cardrona beat on the River Tweed.
You're mentioning all these rivers now. You're known for, what I've seen on your social media, your loughs, though.
I must admit, I love loch style fishing, Ceri, definitely.
So
the wilder, the better. The further away you are, the better it gets.
So how did you start then? You I guess you fished in Derry, did you? Or did you start fishing when you came to the UK?
No, I started fishing, Derry, whenever I was very young. With my father fished, so he still fishes to this day. I started going fishing with him when I was maybe 4 or 5. Whenever I was old enough to walk and hold the rod for myself, I started going along with my father. Me and him fished all over Ireland. Fished all the lochs in Ireland: Lough Fern, Lough Derg, Lough Erne. See the loch that you seen in front of the hotel, the Irish Flyfishing.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's the River Erne that connects Lower Lough Erne and Upper Lough Erne together. So the opposite end of the river from where you were, that would be the most northerly shore of Lower Lough Erne. Right. Me and my father, we used to fish that, fish the Corrib, and then the rivers. My father was mad into the salmon and sea trade as well, so we've done a lot of river fishing as well. The River Faughan, the River Fun, the Mourne, all them famous places that you would have heard of yourself in Northern Ireland.
I noticed when I came over to the show, you passed one or two, like you came close to the loch once or twice, and I saw boats out fishing, and I was surprised. Yep. But is it all over the north that the season is different, or just that area?
It's just certain areas. However, Lough Erne has a phenomenal head of pike in it, Ceri. So the chances are it could have been pike fishermen.
Oh, right, yeah.
So it is. Lough Erne has a great head of pike in it. So it's famous for its pike fishing. So
when did you get into fly fishing then, though?
I got my first fly rod when I was maybe 11 or 12. And then about a year after that, I joined the flytying. There was a school, secondary school, not far from where my Muller and Fowler stay. And once a week we had a flytying class on. So my father, he said to me, now you'll laugh whenever you hear this, but his words were, I want you to go to that so as you can learn how to tie flies, and it means then we don't need to buy them, and it'll save us a fortune.
Has that been the case?
That was, no, it was the worst thing I ever done. The worst and best thing I ever done. So it was. You
could have sold them cheaper. Yeah.
Oh, cheapers tell me. Hey, that's what he thought. He thought, I'll get this young fella and we'll get him learn how to tie flies, and it'll save me having to buy flies.
I don't know if tying flies is cheaper, actually. All the materials you're going to buy in the long run. Like.
Oh, see, it's the price of materials, guy. See, once you're down that rabbit hole, there's no coming back out of it. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
So it does.
Yeah.
One thing just leads to another.
You can't beat it, mind tying all flies. Because each fly, I find, you were using, there's something a bit different to anyone there's a bit of a twist in it, or you've added something to it, and you can't buy it then. You always end up just only using your own personal flies then.
And 9 times out of 10, you'll be sitting at the vice, and you might have a couple of beers on you or whatever, and you might make a mistake, and you might make an arse of a fly. So what you do is you throw it in the box away out of the road, and then you go fishing and you try it, and the fish end up loving it. But because you've only got one of them then, and you end up losing it, and then you're cursing yourself up and down, you bastard. No, 9 times out of 10 it happens to be a mistake. But you think that happens a lot, so that used to happen to me all the time, especially if you've had a couple of beers sitting at the vice. Yeah.
So how many shows do you do of the year? Do you do most of them? Or?
Last year I done the Irish Fly Fair in November, and then in February we had the BFFI February past there. Just the Irish Fly Fair there last week. And then I'll be in Stafford again in February. We used to go to the Scottish Game Fair, the one in Scone Palace. But was it 3 or 4 years ago, maybe? The flytying side of it all got cut away back. There used to be, there used to be 28 tyers at it. 3 or 4 years ago, they changed it and it dropped right back to 8 tyers. So I haven't been at that one in a wee while. It's finding the time, Ceri. See, whenever you work full time, and you family commitments and all the rest of it, it's hard trying to find the time to do. You couldn't do them all.
And it is quite expensive, isn't it, to travel around?
It is. It can be that. Yeah, it can be a big expense. So it can. You could be traveling, and then it depends how long you're staying away. You're spending money, your food. You know what I mean? If you have any night that you have a drink, things like that, it can be. It can be expensive.
Most of your tie-in, I get, is it just for pleasure, or do you tie commercially as well?
So I go through wee phases for nearly 2 years straight. There, Ceri, I was doing a lot of commercial time, doing a lot of orders for people. But what I found was I was going to work, and then I was having to come in from work, and I was having to sit down straight away at the vice to try and get all these flies ready for people. And I done it for about 2 years, and as time was going on, it was taken away from the enjoyment side of it for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was becoming more like a second job. It was like a part-time job on top of my real job. Do you know what I mean? That's what it was. That's what it was becoming like. At one stage there, I could have went for maybe 4 or 5 months tying constantly and without even tying a single fly for myself.
Yeah.
You know, and then you go out for a day's fishing and you look in your box and you've got hardly any flies in your box, and you're like, all I've done for the last 18 months is tie flies and I've got no flies for myself. I took a big backward step from the commercial time. Don't get me wrong, I still do the odd order here and there. I still get people messaging me all the time. Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me? You don't like letting people down. Do you know what I mean? I hate saying no to people, but sometimes you need to just say, look, I'm sorry, I've just not got the time. Whenever I get the time, I'll get back to you, you know?
There's a good friend of mine, Jimmy Terrell. He finds it, especially, you think people would plan ahead, say for instance with the trout fishing and mayfly, you think like in the winter months they would plan, right, we want to do these, but it's not. Come May then, he's got like, he can't get out himself then.
Aye, exactly. You get that happens all the time. You get people in the second, even under the third week of May, and they'll send you a message and they'll say, I need 2 dozen of them mayflies for next week. No, what's the chances? And you're like, here, what's going on here? What do you think I am, a machine?
Yeah.
And the mayfly comes every year at the same time, roughly the same time. Do you know what I mean? Everybody knows it's coming. So
exactly.
You think they would have the tendency, get on early. You know what I mean? Try and get on early, get on in the winter time, whenever the fishing season is closed and people have a wee bit more time to sit down at the vice.
Yeah. Well, you're known for your fly tying. That's how I come across you, through social media, looking at your fly tying. But you've also got this YouTube channel as well going. How did that come about?
Do you want to know how that came about? That actually came about as a joke. That was actually a laugh and a joke. See, whenever I met a group of lads about 8 or 9 years ago on the River Kelvin, and Kennedy Mullen is the man's name. He was the first one that I met, and he seen me walking up the river with a fly rod, and he said to me, he says, "Here, any chance you could teach me how to fly fish?" And I had never met him before, didn't know his name, nothing. That was just, he seen me walking with a fly rod, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Is there any chance you could teach me how to fly fish?" So I thought, right, we'll see if this boy's serious or not, see if he does want to learn. So I gave him my phone number, and I told him I would start taking him the still waters for rainbow trout to teaching him how to fish. So we done it through the winter, got him to the stage where he was able to cast a fly on the river and the loch. And it went from there. Then Kenny introduced me to a couple of his friends, people that he used to fish with. So there was a group of maybe 5 or 6 of us that used to go fishing every single week together. And then they used to all keep saying to me, you need to do a YouTube channel. You need to do a YouTube channel. It would be a great laugh. You need to do it. But see, me and technology don't go well together. I work in the boat. I'm terrible with technology. I work in the building trade. So see if I can't build it or eat it, I'm not interested in it. So anyway, it was one of my friends, and he went ahead behind my back and he went and set the YouTube channel up. So he did, and I was out fishing one day and he showed it all to me on the phone and he says, right, this is now yours. He says, I have it set up for you. He says, but you need to take over it. I says, well, how do I do that? I said, I don't even know what I need to do. So, and it all just spiraled from there, really, Ceri. I started doing just wee stupid videos on my mobile phone, and then people started taking an interest, and I was like, geez, no way, what's going on here? So I kept putting a wee bit more time and a wee bit more effort into it. See, whenever I was out fishing, I thought, right, you know what, I'll try and kind of make this semi-professional if I can. Don't get me wrong, as you can imagine, when there's a group of lads away fishing together, you know what I mean? And if these are close friends, you can imagine the slagging and the abuse and the swearing and all the rest of it.
He wasn't censored at all.
The uncensored version, Gary, the uncensored version, that's the perfect way to put it. The uncensored version, I like that. I'm going to use that from now on.
Yeah.
So that was how that came about, Ceri. And then because of the places that I was taking them fishing, yeah, I used to say to them, I used to catch them out all the time. I say, you want to go fishing for wild brown trout? Where are we going? Is it far away? I was like, it's a wee bit of a drive, but it's a nice wee walk along the hills. The views are great, and you come to the water. It's brilliant fishing. And we would park the car, and they'd say to us, right, where are we going? And I'd say to them, see the top of that mountain up there? And they'd just start to laugh. They'd say, you're winding us up. And I say, well, follow me, lads, do you see? Wow. 2 hours later, the legs would be killing them and the sweat battering off them, and they'd be cursing me up and down. See you effing shite. Never coming fishing with you again. I'd have them away up a side of a mountain 2.5 hours later before they seen the water. But lo and behold, they kept coming with me, and they kept coming, and now they all love it, and now they're all away doing it themselves. Yeah. So they are. So you filmed, there's always something.
You filmed the videos on your phone, is it? Or have you got a camera?
Aye. So to begin with, it was just a wee bog standard average camera, Ceri, and then I was due an upgrade on my phone, and I was in the shop, and the boy showed me this video, and I said, what are you taking them videos on? And he said, that's done on that mobile phone. And I said, you're joking me? I said, to me that looks like a professional video. It doesn't look as if it's somebody's recorded it on their mobile phone.
Yeah.
So I was due to renew my contract, and I said, but I said, I'm going to take one of them phones and try it for my YouTube videos, and it's been brilliant. So it has. It's been brilliant. It's the Google Pixel Pro, and the good thing about it too, you see, I used to use the GoPro, but the battery in the GoPro only lasts 30 minutes. So see, if you're away for a full day's fishing, you need 7 or 8 batteries. Yeah. The battery in the Google Pixel, that lasts the full day. You can do all your recording throughout the day, and whenever you get home after 10, 12 hours fishing, there's still 20 or 30% left in your battery. So It was perfect for what I needed it for, Ceri. That was why I chose it.
For social media, I think really the phones nowadays are as good as you need. You don't need anything more than that, really.
Definitely not. No, you don't need anything.
If somebody wants to look at your YouTube channel, I think it's Paul Black Wild Fishing, isn't it?
Paul Black Wild Fishing, Ceri. That's correct. That's the YouTube channel.
And it's now been called Uncensored.
Uncensored. I'm going to use that. I'm going to start putting that on the videos. You see the next video you go up, you'll see compliments of Ceri Jones at the bottom, uncensored.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to chat to you about, it came from your videos and what you were saying, and I think the latest one, if I got it right, was about Uist.
Oh, don't start me about Uist, Ceri. I'll talk for a week about Uist.
Yeah. So is it something you've done more than once? Is it, you've done it a few times, have you?
Yeah. I've got a good friend that stays in South Uist. Stevie Rogers is his name. Stevie does Stevie has he's got the caravan and that there, and he does fishing holidays and all that out of South Uist, and that was how I ended up going the very first time. And that's why he said to me, he says, you need to come over and experience this place. Because you know what it's like. Everybody has a place that they love to go. Do you know what I mean? And they'll talk it up and they'll tell you about it, and you just think, aye, right, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to say to Stevie. I said, aye, look, whatever. No, shut up and give me a headpiece. And he said, I'm telling you, come over and try it. And the very first time I went, I couldn't believe it. I fell in love with the place instantly. Didn't want to come home. My heart was breaking coming home in the ferry. See, leaving the place, knowing that I was going home and going back to work, I was just like, oh no.
If you're enjoying this podcast and want to listen to more, please consider becoming a Patreon, where you get weekly podcasts and access to over 200 episodes, plus behind-the-scenes photography and other exclusive content. Visit patreon.com/casting with Ceri Jones. Plus, if you fancy booking me for a day's guiding on the Corrib, give us a shout or visit thecorrib.com.
Have you heard of John Kennedy, the guy who created the Clan Chief? That's where the Clan Chief was invented. The Clan Chief was invented in South Uist, and it was invented by the late great John Kennedy. That's where he was from, South Uist. His son Ian still lives there. Still gillies engaged in the loughs on Uist. But South Uist and North Uist, they've always been highly regarded for their brown trout and sea trout fishing. Not maybe years ago, maybe not as much, but definitely in the last 15 years or so, it's really got the recognition that it deserves. It's a fantastic place, and it's all 95% of it. It's all loch style fishing. So I might be wrong in saying this, but I'm nearly sure there's only one river in the full island.
So when you go, do you fish from a boat or bank or both?
Both. Do both, Ceri. The only problem you'll have when going to fish the islands is you're at the mercy of the elements. Yeah. The elements really dictate your style of fishing. And Uist is famous for its wind. You know, here in Glasgow, if you're a 25 to 30 mile an hour wind, you think it's a breezy day. You think it's windy. You think the wind's terrible. Whereas in Uist, that's just an average day. Yeah. It's just an average day.
I've done a podcast with Ken Kennedy, and he fishes.
Ken, that's right.
Talking about Orkney. And
Ken lives in Orkney, that's right.
The difficulty is, he was saying, you could book a week and you go there and you might not be able to fish half of it because the wind is so strong, you know.
That's right. Well, you will be, and Uist, you will always get fishing somewhere. That's the beauty of the island. There's a lot many loughs. You will always get a cast somewhere. But you won't always get out in the boat, so you won't. But if you're prepared to go walking on your feet and fish off the bank, you'll always get fishing. And I'll be honest with you, Gary, I've had some of my best days fishing in Uist, especially this year. My best days fishing this year was in a horrible wind. The wind was howling, so it was from the south. It was about 35 plus mile an hour. It was and it was difficult. It was difficult casting, and plus you had the rain along with it. But my God, what a day's fishing I had that day! So you will, a lot of the times you do find if you go out whenever the weather's wild like that, if you can get in somewhere where there's a wee bit of shelter, you will have a good day.
I've always said dirty days are by far the best for wild trout.
Best days, yeah, that's right. There's an old Irish saying, Ceri, and I'm sure it originated in Lough Corrib, and what they used to say was, the man that braves the wave will get the trout. That's an old famous Irish saying. So it is.
I rub my hands together when I see those dark skies, howling wind. Ideally a soft wind. You don't want those scurrying, blustery, the wind on the top, but a nice big soft rolling wave. Oh my God. You can't get better.
Tell me about it, right? You start to get butterflies.
Yeah. It's been years since I fished Scotland, and if I remember right, I don't know if it's the same now, you don't need a rod licence, do you?
Don't need a rod licence in Scotland, Ceri, no. You need one in England, and you definitely need one in Northern Ireland. And I think too, whenever I was still living in Derry, we used to buy the foil rod licence, and that covered you for the north. But we also used to buy the All Ireland licence, and that covered you for over the border.
Yeah.
So I think it's still the same. I think it is still the same.
So when you're fishing on Uist, then you need permission from the landowner, I guess, or is it a club you got to join, or how do you actually go about the fishing then?
There's you have the South Uist Angling Club, so you have and the waters on Uist are split into two different categories. You have the club waters and you have the estate waters, estate/macro waters. So you can buy your club permit from the angling club, and it's as soon as you come off the ferry in Lough Boylesdale down at the southern shores of the island. There's a wee post office. You can go in there and get the permit for the club waters for an entire week for 50 quid.
Really?
And
50 quid?
That covers 50 quid for a full week's fishing. Now, everybody makes a mistake. We think that whenever they go to the islands, that they need to be fishing the macro waters and they need to be fishing the estate waters. I'm telling you now, you will have just as good a fishing on the club waters as you will fishing the estate waters. There's no doubt about it. So anybody that listens to this and are thinking about going, don't be going under the impression thinking that you need to be spending hundreds of pounds to fish these big famous waters.
Yes.
Go and spend the £50 for a club permit and get to know the island first and spend a bit of time wandering about. Take your audience survey map along with you. If you know anybody that stays there, try and tie them a day or two. See, I was lucky with Stevie. Stevie's been fishing there for 20 years, so he's got 20 years of knowledge on the island. So the very first time I went there, I know, and I've been going every year since, and every time that I go, I'm constantly learning off of Stevie. Do you know what I mean? So I was lucky in that sense. I wasn't approaching the island blind, as they say. I had a lot of local knowledge to go by.
What sort of average size of the fishing are then?
See, there's certain macro waters, Ceri, and the average size of the fish could be 3 and 4 pound.
What?
But don't get me wrong. No, you could be fishing the full day for maybe 1 or 2 fish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can be a hard day's fishing, and then there's waters, and you'll go to them, Ceri, and you might have 20 or 30 fish from 3/4 of a pound to a pound and a quarter, and then you will get the odd trophy fish in there amongst them that knows 1 or 3 pound, 2.5 pound.
Yeah.
So whether it's a good day's sport you're wanting, or if you're after a lovely big specimen, Uist has it all. Plus, you have the sea trout side of it as well. The sea trout fishing's phenomenal. So it is. I think the reason I enjoyed it so much, Ceri, was because I grew up all my life fishing the rivers for sea trout. I loved fishing the night fly for sea trout on the river with my father, and then as I got older, going with my mothers, I'm going to the river at 12 and 1 in the morning and fishing for the sea trout in the pitch black. I had never ever fished for them before in a loch, never approached it loch style. So I think that probably contributes to maybe as well why it's so special for me, because it was the first time I ever approached fishing for sea trout, loch style.
Now, what time of year? I guess it'll be like June time, is it? The sea trout run up there?
No, that's a wee bit too early. Don't get me wrong. You will get the odd shoal of fish coming through the system, especially if they get rain.
Yeah.
But if you spoke to anyone on the island, lad, they would tell you that prime time is end of August, start of September. That's the prime time for the sea trout, Ceri. Aye.
Wow.
So it is. That's the prime time. But as I say, I know Stevie lives up there. I've spoke to Stevie in May, June, and Stevie's out catching sea trout. So you know they are there.
Yeah.
They are there, but their prime time's August and September. Aye.
Are they shallow lakes?
Fairly shallow, Ceri. Aye, the majority of them are fairly shallow. You're not looking at, any of the ones that I've fished. Maximum depth maybe 7-8 feet, with a very, very odd wee deeper hole here and there. There's a lot of the lochs that you can actually wade straight across them. You can wade through the full loch.
It's a floater. You only need a floater then.
Floater, midge tip, or a slow intermediate, a very slow intermediate. Aye. You don't need anything more than that. Aye.
Well,
But you're fine.
fishing wets, I guess you are then, yeah.
Aye, just your typical traditional wet flies, Ceri. Teal blue and silver, Peter Ross, Clan Chief, Zulu, Clara Bumble, just all your usual traditional wet flies.
Yeah.
Stoat's tail is very, very good news. Stoat's tail and a Clan Chief. It's probably that if you speak to anybody up there, them's the two flies that they'll talk to you about especially for sea trout.
Yeah.
Especially for the sea trout, aye.
You're whetting my appetite now, ready for next year.
I know. I'll not sleep now tonight because I'm talking to you about this now on the phone.
But the other thing which you mentioned when I was chatting to you in the show was the Isle of Mull. Now, I used to go every year to Isle of Mull. My aunt had a hotel, as I was telling you, on the island. And I haven't been there since I was probably about 15 years of age, maybe younger, actually. So something I'd love to go on. You were saying, you've been to Mull fishing as well.
I have, yes. Well, see, as you're travelling to Mull, you get the Corn ferry, which takes you across, and it takes you on to the area's called Marvin, and Marvin is just right next to Mull, so it is. And there's a wee area in Marvin, and it's called Ardtornish, the Ardtornish estate, and there's 3 different sets of hull locks. The estate sits in the wee valley at the foot of the hulls. There's a wee river that runs through it, and then there's 3 different sets of hull locks which nobody fishes. There's one set of the hull locks that gets fished by the locals. The other 2 sets don't. So the first time that I went, that was where I focused my fishing on the 2 sets of hull locks that didn't get fished.
Yeah.
And it's I've always said, Ceri, that I'm going to go back because we had a fantastic time. It was amazing. Really special place. So it was.
I'd love to go back. It would bring a lot of memories back for me when I was a kid.
Aye. But that's the area, Marvin, like Ardtornish estate and Marvin. So it is, but it's a stunningly beautiful place. It's just all hulls.
Some cracking beaches there. I can imagine they could be good sea trout fishing there, would it?
Yeah. Yep. And see, that was what I found strange too about the river that runs through it, Ceri. Nobody fished it, and the manager of the estate, that's what he said to me. He says, "Paul, as far as I'm aware, I'm the only person that fishes it." And I said, "Are you getting salmon out of it?" And he says, "Whenever we get the rain, I'll go down. I've had a few out of it." And it's just one of them places, guys. It's like just a wee wilderness on its own. It's been left alone. It's been left in peace.
Lovely.
You know, it's not been destroyed by man. It's its own wee wilderness within itself. So it is, but it's a great place, and I definitely will go back there. I will, but the problem is Uist. It's having to see if I have to pick between one or the other. That's the hard part. Yeah. That's the hard part. Aye.
All these places which you're talking about, which isn't too far from you now. How often do you come back to Ireland and fish any of the loughs over here?
I haven't fished in Ireland, Ceri, since I've left it. No, sorry, I'm a liar. I had one day on the River Finn, maybe about 6 years ago. That's the last time I wet a line in Ireland. All my fishing's done in Scotland. Obviously, I was back for the Irish Fly Fair. Last year was the same. I was only back in Ireland once. Enniskillen again, obviously, for the show. And then went up to Derry straight after the show. I was in Derry for 2 days and then back to Scotland. So it's been a wee while since I've done any fishing in Ireland. And I must say I do miss it. I miss the salmon fishing, Ceri. So I miss the salmon fishing big time. The salmon fishing in Scotland, especially the girls fishing, isn't the same as it is in Ireland.
Going back to your tie-in now, your fly tie-in, you're an ambassador for Lagerton and Raids Up, yeah? And
Raids Up, that's right, yeah. This year I joined both the teams. Both of them was it this year or was it last year? I can't remember now.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I've noticed as well from your posts that it's not only the trout flies that you tie the hair-wing salmon flies as well, don't you?
I try my best sometimes.
They look pretty impressive to me anyway. Do you prefer one to the other?
I love tying salmon flies. I love the creativity and the artistry in tying salmon flies. Also, It's very, very hard to tie salmon flies properly, Jerry. See, getting the correct profiles and the correct proportions.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Now, to tie a fishing fly is totally different. Do you know what I mean? If I was sitting down to try and tie, say, a proper professional salmon fly, you could be sitting at the vise for up to 15 minutes tying the one fly.
Yeah.
15, 16, 17 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas you could sit down to tie a fly that you're going to fish with and say maybe 8 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
and there's a flip side to that, I find, as well, right? Because you get some perfect fly tyers. I mean, they can tie a dozen of flies and they'll be identical, right?
yes, consistency.
There's something about a fly, you tie flies, as you say, to catch fish. Sometimes you look at those flies, and I prefer to fish with those because they look fishy, whereas
They
the
look
other ones,
fishy, yeah. They look too perfect. The other ones look too perfect. Like every single fiber's been set in place.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. I done it at the last BFFI. What I did was I had a box of tied flies and a box of flies that I fish with, and people couldn't believe the difference.
Yeah,
they couldn't believe the difference in the two. I was showing people the two boxes, and I said they're tied fancy for photographs and stuff like that, but them ones there, them's the one I fish with.
yeah.
See the rough, scruffy ones that they look like nothing. Sometimes you would look at it and you would say, "Geez, I'm not putting that at the end of the line. I'm not fishing with that." But they're always the ones that are the best, yeah. As you know, the rougher and scruffier, the better.
Well, it's come to that time now. There's one more question I want to ask. You thought about this?
I'm dreading this. I've been thinking about this all day, and I thought, Jesus, there's too much to talk about.
Where would you want to be to make your last cast?
Right, yeah. I'm only allowed to pick one, or can I pick two?
Go on, then you can pick two.
Right. It would be the Tierra del Fuego in Argentina, or the Atlantic Salmon Reserve in Russia.
Have you been to those places?
I've never been to them, Ceri, no. But they're the kind of the ideal, the dream fishing destination.
Well, do you know what? Out of all the, how many, 230 plus podcasts I've done, you were the very first person to mention a water which they never fished before.
It's probably somewhere, Ceri, that I'm never going to be able to afford to get to ever in my own. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would be the ideal place to go to. If I had to pick somewhere that I've fished before, it would be a loch in Ireland, a loch in the hills of Donegal, where I first started fishing with my father. But I'm not going to mention the name, so in case the wee place gets decimated. But that's, you know what it's like. See, once you start naming places and then you go back to fish them, and then a couple of years later they're ruined. But the very first lot I had me first wild brown trout over. It's a special memory, as we say, eh?
Many thanks, Paul.
It was great speaking to you, lad. It really was.
You too. Many thanks.
All right. All the best, buddy. All the best. Bye-bye.
If you've enjoyed this podcast and want to listen to more, please consider becoming a Patreon. We will get weekly podcasts and access to over 200 episodes, behind the scenes photography to go with each episode, plus other exclusive content and prizes. To become a Patreon, visit patreon.com/casting with Ceri Jones, or you can find the link on my website, castingwithcerijones.com. That's all for now. Tight lines, and may they always be up in the wave.